Hi everybody. I am, like maybe many of you looking at this video, a owner of a late model Land Rover Defender. It's an ex-MOD unit I picked up from a military auction. I've refurbished the vehicle, as you can see. It's a 1991. It does have the 2.5 NA in it, but I'm assuming this applies to any of the diesel engines that Land Rover produces. The big issue, of course, is noise. Now I'm sure many of you have taken a look at videos online of different applications and read blogs about what to do or not to do. So far I haven't tried anything on it, but I'm going to try a couple things now that I've found, and I'm going to document it to see how it works. I don't have a decibel meter, but there's several applications I found for the phone. While they may not be perfect, I think it'll give at least a representation of the kind of noise or change in sound levels that you can expect with these two different products. I'm going to do them one at a time, so we'll get a sense of what each one is contributing to noise reduction, if anything. Now, the two products that I'm going to be looking at, one product is from Dynamat, and it's the hood liner. It's a 3/4 inch open cell foam product with a foil side on it, so it adheres on the inside of the hood or bonnet and then absorbs sound as well. So that's one product I've got. The second product is a product by Noise Killer, and it is a lead and foam lined specialty blanket that sits inside the hood itself over the engine and is secured around the engine to absorb and reflect some of the sound. So this one I'm still not sure about. I did order it from the UK. It came in. I'll share some of the prices with these products as well a little bit later in this video. So we'll try one, then the other of these products, and then both combined and see what sort of results we get. Okay? First we'll do a bit of a noise check, just to set a standard for how much noise is coming from the vehicle, both outside the vehicle, inside the vehicle at idle, and then as I'm driving down at about 80 kilometers an hour. Okay, so this is the noise at idle. As you can see, it's averaging around 76 decibels. This is before I've added any of these soundproofing materials. Now I'll check inside at idle. Okay, so inside, approximately the same reading, 77, 76. You can see this is the low range and that's the high range. So pretty consistent at about 77 decibels, which is, as this reads, approximately the sound of a food blender. Not sure if that's good or not. So next we'll take it on a road test and get the inside noise at 80 kilometers an hour. Okay, so we're back, and now I'm driving just about 80 kilometers an hour. You can see we're registering about 95 as it's leaned up against the dash or the windshield. Maybe a little bit higher than it would be normally, but what we want to do is get the difference, right? So about 94, 95 as it's registering here. Okay, just back from the road test, and you can see when I leaned it up against the dashboard, it was showing about 92, 94 decibels. On the way back, I had a chance to hold it in my hand and take a look at it. It was slightly less, probably because of some vibration coming up through the dash or the windshield. It was about 88 to maybe 90, so a little bit less. I'll have to check definitely both ways after we include or attach the various sound dampening materials. So next, I guess, is I think first up I'm going to try the blanket because that would be the easiest one to remove, then to try to adhere the sound insulation on the underside of the hood, and then both in combination. I think this may work. As you can see, we're getting about 65, 66, 64 for an outside noise reading. I'm going to check the inside now. So now we're doing the inside test after installing the blanket from Noise Killer. You can see that the reading inside is slightly less, but not by much. 77 before, I believe we were averaging, and now we're about 76. Certainly out by the hood, the noise was definitely lower. So I think that's interesting. Hasn't necessarily translated to inside the cab as yet. I guess the road test will be next, and just remember that we were getting readings of about 94 with the unit leaning up against the dash, and handheld about 88. So next is to head out and see how that works. Okay, now we're on the highway again, traveling at about 80 kilometers an hour. Not sure if I see a ton of difference. A couple decibels. I'm going to hand hold it for a second. Yeah, really, I don't see any appreciable difference with it and without it. So as you can see, so far the blanket hasn't proven itself that it reduces sound inside the cabin. Certainly above the hood or the bonnet. The reading was significantly lower. It was about 75, 76 when I originally took it, and then after the blanket went on, it went down to about 62. The neighbors are going to appreciate that. Inside the cabin did not see a corresponding decline or reduction in the noise level, so a little disappointing from that standpoint. So next will be the under hood material. We'll add that to it and then see if we can get some additional noise absorption as well. I'll let you know how that goes. I'm going to put that on. Okay, now that we've got the hood removed, brought it into a sheltered area because it looks like could get a threat of rain. I've got it inside. I've already done a pre-wipe with some light soap and water detergent just to get out some of the dirt and large grease amounts from underside of the hood, all the flat areas. Next I'm going to use a degreaser and wipe that again lightly just to make sure all the grease is removed and the contact is maximized. Next, before I cut the material, I'm going to trace it out, the areas out on this tracing paper, so that I can create a template and more efficiently cut the right size, so I'm not wasting any material or redoing something or not fitting it properly. So those will be the steps next. I'm also going to try fitting some in these small openings. Don't know if it's going to help much, but I thought, well, if I've got some extra material, I'm going to try in these small areas. So I'm going to clean those as well. Okay, so now that's done. Time to start drawing out my template. Again, I'm going to use this tracing paper. So I'm just going to start on the first panel over here. And what I'm going to do, just to hold it in place, I'm going to add a little bit of tape just to make sure it doesn't move around too much on me. There. So that looks like the first panel. I'll straighten out some of those lines and cut it as accurately as I can, and hopefully that's going to work. Okay, so now I've cut out the pattern. I've laid out the hood liner material, and I'm going to try some heavy scissors to cut it first. If not, I'll use a razor knife, which is usually a little bit more difficult to work. But I'll start out with that for this first template. I'm going to mark it with this Sharpie marker because I found that it's probably the best on this material. So I want to be as efficient. They certainly, you don't get any more than you absolutely need. Hopefully, I am going to try to mark this out as efficiently as I can and with the least waste possible. Anyway, I'll start by cutting this one out, and then we'll check on that one in a bit. Okay, scissors seem to cut this just fine. Okay, so it looks like it's pretty good fit. I'll just squeeze it up underneath as far as I can get. And that's what the finished product looks like from the underside now. So I am going to put this back on the vehicle and we're going to test and see how it does. So now we're going to take a look and see what it is with just the Dynamat hood liner. I've taken out the mats, the lead line mats from Noise Killer, and we'll just do the test here at idle, and then we'll do a test with it running at highway speeds again. So as you can see, the reading is about 72, 73 just outside the hood. This is down a little bit from yesterday when it was about 76 without anything, and not quite as good as the lead line mat on the exterior, which was down about 62, 64 in that range. So there is a little bit of a difference. Let's take a look inside. So now looking at the meter reading inside the cab at idle with just the hood mat in there, don't see appreciable difference. As a matter of fact, I think it's up a little bit, but from yesterday, but definitely not lower interior wise with just this. Next we'll go out on the road and see what our readings are. Okay, so now just about approaching highway speeds. You can see the dash, when it's on the dash, about 93, so again, no appreciable difference. When handheld, about 82, 83, 81. So it sounds like there's a little bit of an improvement here from the original numbers. So we do see a little improvement. We'll test on the way back, see if we get consistent numbers. Maybe a little small difference inside the cab, but now we're going to try both together and see if we can't bring that number down a bit more. There again is the sound at idle. Appears to be a little quieter than it was without the Dynamat hood liner material. Okay, I'm going to do one more road test, this time including both the blanket from Noise Killer and the underhood liner from Dynamat. And we'll do a over the hood test in cab at idle and on the road and see if that makes any difference. Okay, let's take a look at the meter. Meter showing about 67, 68. A little bit, the mat itself yesterday was 64, assuming there's a little bit of difference. Not a perfect indicator, so definitely quieter though than it was without the two devices just before we started. So I'll try in the cab now and see how it is. Okay, in the cab, definitely quieter at idle. I believe it was about 76 yesterday. I'll confirm that with the other videos, but about 76, and now we're about 68 to 70. Partially that's my voice. 68, 69 on its own. Okay, let's do a road test. Okay, on the dash, no change. Handheld, no real change. Well, after all that, I think the information that I have, while it's unscientific, shows that while the Dynamat underhood liner and the Noise Killer lead line blanket reduce the sound in and around the engine bay and on the exterior, help to do that. There's really no discernible difference in the in-cab noise levels. So if you're looking to be good to your neighbors and the noise environment, these are products I think to look at. If you're looking at really making a meaningful difference to the noise levels on the interior of the cabin, then I would say that there's very little value in these products. I think I'm going to stick with the tried and true cheap solutions, and probably you should too, instead of earplugs. I think those will do the most for you. Okay, hope you've learned something from this, and I hope to see some of your videos sometime.